kidding.
I mean, it'll get done, but
Tapping in.
I'll keep it posted.
Still making noise. I've done that me.
I hadn't even thought about calling Claudia.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, that was.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
That was
Nick's got the merchandise.
All right. Ralph, how you doing?
oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Good for you.
Last time I saw you,
we were in Mexico.
we were in Mexico having cocktails.
Yeah, struggling to make it through the night. So. That's been a while.
Okay.
Electrical commission. I'm like last.
Oh, you're on it?
Like, yeah. I'm like last on the fucking.
Hey, how are you?
How are you?
Nice to see you. I understand you're here to
I've had my good for him too. My plate is full.
How you been?
Harvest
Yeah.
market.
Been good. Been good. Oh, it's an exciting place. Yeah, there you go. No, 10 is sufficient. Good to see you. Thanks for saying hi.
Just so you're aware.
And that's
Hello, Alderwoman.
City of Springfield.
Hey, Larry, gone for 2 weeks here. I got to head to Washington tomorrow.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
I was looking to see who was there.
Yeah, it was. That was fun. It makes me laugh.
Which one is it?
Oh, yeah, we have some stories. Tell her I said hello.
Where's she going?
Wow, that's an iPhone 15,
Oh yeah, I saw her in the hallway.
but not Pro.
The April 16th, 2024 meeting of the City Council is called to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance. Clerk Lesko, will you please call the roll?
That's pretty bad, isn't
Will
it?
do. Alderman Redpath.
Here.
Alderman Gregory.
Here.
Alderman Williams. Here. Alderman Rockford. Present. Alderwoman Purchase.
Here.
Alderwoman Notriano.
Here.
Alderman Carlson.
Here.
Alderwoman Conley.
Present.
Alderman Donlin.
Here.
Alderman Hanauer.
Here.
Mayor Busher.
Present.
Mayor Busher, a quorum is present.
Thank you, Clerk Lesko. The civility pledge. In the interest of civility, I pledge to promote civility by listening, being respectful of others, acknowledging that we are all striving to support and improve our community, and understanding that we each may have different ideas for achieving that objective. First item on the agenda is docket number 2024-007 for the property located at 2833 and 2901 East Cook Street. The petitioners are Dependable Motors Incorporated. Present zoning classification is I-1 Light Industrial District, Section 155.040. The requested zoning relief is a variance of Sections 155.112, surfacing to allow construction of an open off-street parking and vehicle storage area of dustless millings and rock without requiring a wearing surface of asphaltic concrete or comparable hard surface, 155-136, regulations for surfacing of off-street loading facilities to allow to construct open off-street loading spaces of dustless millings and rock without requiring a durable hard surface pavement 155.143 plan of off-street parking or loading areas to proceed with constructing an open off-street parking and vehicle storage area of dustless rock and millings without requiring plans for accessory off-street parking areas or a building permit 155.408 landscape screening and lighting regulations to allow construction of a parking area without requiring a landscape plan, including but not limited to installation and maintenance of parking lot landscaping, screening, and lighting and the points related thereto. The background, the requested variances were granted for this location on December 20th, 2018, for a period of 5 years in docket number 2018-071. The 5-year period expired in December of 2023. Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning staff recommendation is denial. Planning and zoning recommendation is recommend a 2-year extension on the paving. Chair will now entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor, I would like to, I've met with the lawyer and the engineers, and we like to continue this for 30 days.
Okay.
He needs time to work some things out with his client.
Second.
So a motion and a second, a motion from Alderman Williams and a second from Alderman Gregory to continue item number 2024-007. Before I call on you, Mr. Pavlik, any discussion from any of my council members on that at all? Okay. Mr. Pavlik.
Continuance is agreeable.
Perfect. Sorry, I didn't ask you to say your name since I know it. My apologies. So all those in favor of the motion to hold until the next meeting, please say yes.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda, Alderman Donlin.
If it's appropriate, Mayor, if you have to read it into the record, I understand, but I intend on making a motion for docket number 18-055 to hold it until the next meeting as well.
Second.
I don't think I need to read it in the record, do I? So we have a motion and a second to hold on docket number 2018-055 until the next meeting as well.
That is the next zoning city council meeting.
Yep.
Which is,
In a month.
yes,
Yes.
thank you.
So Alderman Donlin had signed up. You're good there. Alderwoman Purchase, did you have discussion on that?
No, Madam Mayor, we have some people who said it's hard to hear us right now on the audio.
Okay, Ms. Wilson, looks like
Oh, okay, Mr. Tony.
the man behind the steel curtain says the audio is fine. So we have a motion and a second then for holding till the next meeting. Any other alders that have discussion before we take our voice vote? All those in favor of holding, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion is carried to hold. The next item on the agenda is docket number 2024-008 for the property located at 311 Bruns Lane and 2021 Hill Meadows Drive. Petitioner is Charles E. Robbins Marital Trust A. Present zoning classification is R1, Single Family Residence District, Section 155.016, for 311 Bruns Lane, and R5B, General Residence and Office District, Section 155.021, for 2021 Hill Meadows Drive. The requested zoning relief is reclassification to R3B, General Residence District, Section 155.018. Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning staff recommendation is approval. Planning and Zoning Commission recommendation is concur with staff recommendation with the large-scale setback requirements on the west side. Chair will now entertain a motion.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation.
I have a motion and a second to accept the Planning and Zoning recommendation. Before we go to the podium, does any of the alders have any discussion on this item? Seeing none, Mr. Pavlik.
No comments. Thank you very much.
All right.
He had it easy.
So the voting will now be open. All those in favor, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no. And the motion carries with 10 voting yes, none voting no. Thank you, Mr. Pavlik.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
I'll let the zoning staff get up for a minute here.
That's a quick 5 grand.
The chair now recognizes Deputy Treasurer Ketchum for a presentation of the financial report.
Thank you, Mayor Busher. Treasurer's Report Corporate Fund for the month of March. Beginning balance $59,224,469. We took in total receipts of $10,661,500. $536. We had disbursements in the month of March totaling $15,117,230, which left the corporate fund ending balance in the month of March at $54,768,775. The ending general fund balance includes $14,471,597, which is the March ending balance for ARPA money. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept the treasurer's report as submitted.
We have a motion and a second to approve Deputy Treasurer Ketchum's report, and thank you for that report, by the way. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. I forgot to ask for discussion, sorry. We always just approve that. Thank you. The chair is now going to recognize the OBM Director, Metzger, for presentation of any OBM contract report, if you have any questions on that. Anyone have questions for the Budget Director? Seeing none, we will move on to the next item on the agenda. The chair will entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the April 2nd, 2024 regular city council meeting and approve the minutes. Need a motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion carries. The chair will now entertain a motion to incorporate the pre-council first reading of ordinances into the record of this council meeting.
So move.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. The chair will entertain a motion to incorporate the pre-council reading of the consent agenda into the record of this council meeting.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion carries. Alderman Donlin.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion, if appropriate, to amend agenda item number 2024-119, which is on the consent agenda.
Second. All right, we have a motion from Alderman Donlin and a second from Alderwoman Conley to amend item number 2024-119. That would be a proposed amendment 1 on your desk. Would that be right, Alderman?
That is correct.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the amendment from any of the alders for 2024-119?
Yes, Mayor, I haven't had time
Alderman
to
Williams.
read it. If someone can quickly tell me what the amendment's doing.
I believe Corporation Counsel is prepared for that.
Okay.
So the amendment changes the escrow agreement by clarifying how funds will be dispersed and then adding 2 forms that the parties have agreed to, that being us, the banks, and the developer, including what the disbursement requisition would look like. That's the request for funds, and then where the source of funds would be coming from. This came out of collaboration with the banks and the developers over the last several weeks to come up with how the funds are going to be treated once they're in escrow and what's going to be required for them to be released from escrow.
Thank you.
Do you have any other questions, Alderman Williams? Okay. Alderman Gregory.
So on, and this is just a general question so I can wrap my head around it. On item number A, where it says developers, construction costs paid directly by the developer, for project costs paid by the developer will submit. That's all crossed out. And then we have the new language in disbursement requisition in a form of substantially similar to disbursement. And then it mentions Exhibit A. So can you tell me how that works, Corporation Counsel?
Sure. So the language that's stricken is from the escrow agreement that we have with the developer for non-sports park funds, right? So essentially what this means is when the developer wants us to release public funds, they will fill out what's marked as Exhibit A, which is referred to as a disbursement requisition. And that'll show the vendor, the total amount they've paid, the amount they're asking us, and why they're using it. And then they certify that they've paid this, they attach all the invoices and everything that's required. So that's kind of the first step in their request to ask us for any money, is what you read and what you referred to.
And thank you, appreciate it.
Any other questions, Alderman Gregory?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Any other discussion from any of the aldermen or alderwomen on the amendment? All right, so I have a motion and a second for amending.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Alderwoman Conley.
Apologies. Yeah, just real quickly, Corporation Counsel, how long will we retain the records related to the expense of the disbursement requests? Is that just a standard, like 7 years after the completion of the project, or?
So these would all be public records, so I would need to refer to our records retention plan.
So
We
they'll follow
can-
standard record retention?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I need to know. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any other discussion on the amendment? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor of the item as amended, please say aye.
First Amendment.
All right.
You gotta vote on the
We
amendment
got to vote on the
individually.
amendment first.
Oh, vote on the amendment, sorry. All those in favor of amendment number 1 first, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
Now I
That
make a
motion
motion.
carries.
Now I make a motion to pass it as amended.
Second.
All right, now, sorry, I was trying to do that first.
It's all right.
Or should we do the consent agenda as a whole?
We'll keep it in the consent agenda as
Yeah.
amended.
Yes, so now it's amended in the consent agenda, so if we pass the consent agenda, it will be passed as
Oh,
amended.
okay, thank you.
Okay. So the chair is going to entertain a motion to place the entire consent agenda including the amendment 2024-119 you just passed on final passage.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on placing the consent agenda on final passage? Seeing none, the voting will now be open. All those in favor, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no.
Come on, Larry.
He's trying, I can hear him. And the motion passes with 10 voting yes, none voting no. Agenda item number 2024-089 remains tabled or in committee. The next item on the agenda is item number 2024-103, an ordinance suspending the interfund transfer from the water fund to the corporate fund for fiscal years 2024 and 2025. The chair will entertain a motion to place agenda number 2024-013 on final passage.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, the voting will now be open. All those in favor, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no.
I'm a yes, man.
And the motion passes with 9 voting yes, 1 voting no. The next item on the agenda is item number 2024-109, an ordinance approving the appointment of David E. Wells to the Springfield Electrical Commission.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on Mr. Wells?
He's
Mr.
here.
Wells, can you come to the podium, please? We're going to let you be discussion. Do you mind introducing yourself to the council and telling them your...
My name is David Wells. I'm the IBW Business Manager for Local 193 here in Springfield, Illinois, at 3150 Wide Track Drive.
Any discussion for Mr. Wells from any of the aldermen or alderwomen? Perfect, thank you. So the voting will now be open. All those in favor, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wells.
David.
Thanks for serving.
Jennifer?
And the motion passes with 10 voting yes, none voting no. The next item on the agenda is item number 2024-110, an ordinance approving the appointment of Kim Frame Rockford to the Civil Service Commission.
So
Chair will
moved.
entertain a motion. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
And a second. Any discussion on item number 2024-110? Seeing none, the voting will now be open. All those in favor, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no. And the motion passes with 8 voting yes, 2 voting present. The next item on the agenda is item number 2024-111, an ordinance approving the reappointment of Molly Burns to the Springfield Historic Sites Commission.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this appointment?
Well, let's go. Just
We'll
get
bring
going.
Ms. Burns up.
Let's think about this.
Hello, I'm Molly Behrens. I'm the Executive Director of the Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning Commission. Pleasure to be here tonight. The reason I'm here is to be appointed to the Springfield Historic Sites Commission, which by your ordinance requires someone from the Regional Planning Commission to be appointed to this commission. And as Executive Director, I take that responsibility on.
Thank you.
Any discussion for Ms. Behrens? All right, seeing none, the voting will now be open. All those in favor of the motion, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
the motion passes with 10 voting yes, none voting no. The next item on the agenda is item number 2024-112, an ordinance approving the reappointment of Aaron Akery to the Building Code of Appeals. The chair will entertain a motion to place agenda number 2024-112 on final passage.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion from the alderman or alderwoman first? Mr. Acree, if you don't mind coming up to the podium.
Hello, my name is Aaron Acree. I'm the owner of Michael Von Buren Builder, and I'd like to ask for your consideration for a reappointment to the Building Code Board of Appeals. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Acree. All right, seeing no discussion, all those in favor, please vote yes. The voting will now be open. All those opposed, please vote no.
Sorry.
And the motion passes with 10 voting yes, none voting no. The next item on the agenda is 2024-113, an ordinance approving the reappointment of Mark Henderson, P.E.S.E., to the Building Code Board of Appeals. The chair will entertain a motion to place agenda number 2024-113 on final passage.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on this ordinance? Seeing none, voting will now be open. All those in favor of the motion, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no. And the motion passes with 10 voting yes, none voting no. The next item on the agenda is item number 2024-116, an ordinance approving an extension to the cable television franchise agreement by and between the City of Springfield, Illinois, and Comcast of Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, LLC. The chair will entertain a motion to place agenda number 2024-116 on final passage.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on this agenda item? Seeing none, the voting will now be open. All those in favor, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no. And the motion passes with 10 voting yes, none voting no. The next item on the agenda is 2024-120.
Madam Mayor,
Alderman Redpath.
could we hold this till the next meeting, please?
We have a motion to hold into the next meeting. We have a second. Any discussion on the item that we are going to hold 2024-120 till the next council meeting? Seeing, Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you. Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to make sure if we hold it to the next meeting, that's not going to delay the work on the site. Do we know
Of
that?
course, will. I mean, they can't start it until we have an
Right,
ordinance.
so. Can I ask why we're holding it?
Mr. Lesko's coming to the
Oh,
podium.
is this at the request of Ms., okay, never mind, Mr. Lesko.
It'll be fine.
Are you getting more material on this?
Yeah,
more
it
information?
should be fine.
Then I'm fine. Okay, thank you. July, you said June last week. Okay.
Alderman Gregory, did you have discussion? I saw you signed up to speak, sir. All right. You good, Alderman Gregory?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second to hold until the next council meeting. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Is there any unfinished business to bring before the city council? I see no one signed up. Oh, Alderman Donlin.
No, I'm in new business.
Oh, okay, never mind. So old business, we have no one signed up to share. So now we're going to move on to new business. Alderman Donlin.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. You know, I tend to be one that goes with my gut most of the time, but sometimes it's like opposite day and you have to do the opposite. So I'm going to bring this up. It's all kidding aside, it's a topic that has come up before at the council, well, not in quite some time. I was contacted by not a constituent, but a friend today about this issue while in my car driving to Champaign, and it was his discouragement over seeing individuals parking in disabled spots. And Mayor, we had a conversation on the phone about how you are re-implementing a true traffic division in the police department that can help with enforcing these kind of problems. But in the conversation, it came up, the city at one time had, and this is what I mean by opposite, typically I'd contact the chief. I was hoping he would be here, but I will indeed do so offline. There he is. Chief, just in time. I know at one time the city had I'll say a policy or a procedure for regular citizens to assist the department with helping enforce when individuals who do not have the proper disability placard that park in these spots throughout the city to help enforce that. I wanted to see if that's something that if we don't presently have it, something we could re-implement, but also with the true traffic division that you have forthcoming, that we can let our citizens know that we intend on absolutely enforcing this type of thing because it's not good for the community.
Yeah, and I apologize. I was out handling another issue. I presume you're talking about folks parking in handicap parking
Yes, sir.
spots? Yeah.
That is correct.
So we used to have a volunteer contingent of folks that would go out and write handicap parking tickets. That's kind of phased out for a variety of reasons. The biggest concern, obviously, is putting someone at risk by going out there and kind of doing essentially our job or the traffic warden's job. The main thing is, to your point, it's not tolerated, and if individuals recognize that someone's parked illegally, or business owners or business folks see that as well, that they should call us and we can come handle that. Definitely.
Chief, and I appreciate that, and we had that conversation, this gentleman, and he is here today, he's welcome to speak, but he did describe that he called the non-emergency number, which I think is appropriate in a situation like that, and, was, I think, given a realistic reply that this, isn't like some of the other priorities the department is unfortunately impacted with on a daily basis, but I wanted to assure him that with the refocus and hiring and getting a true traffic division up and running, that this could be something that we could better address in the future. That's
No, I agree 100%, and obviously, we're not available for everyone at a moment's notice. We dispatch who doesn't work for us, but they do prioritize the calls for service based on certain levels of priority. This would be a low priority, so we get to it as time permits. To your point, we are bolstering our traffic unit, which means more officers available to deal with situations such as this. And is this the gentleman here? Why don't we talk outside?
Yeah, that'd be great.
How's that work? Okay.
And Todd, thanks for coming today.
Thank you, Mayor, thank you, councilmen and women. Seriously, if you have.
You gotta come to the podium.
Come to the podium, sir. But Chief, don't go too far away.
I do apologize.
You're fine, Todd.
My name is Todd Faulkner Sr. I live here in Springfield all of my life. I've got family members that are handicapped, and I happen to be handicapped as myself. I don't know how many of you may have family members or extended family members, but when you try to find a handicapped parking spot and you see somebody parked in a handicapped spot that doesn't have the plate, doesn't have the placard, as an example, last night I had an individual, she parked in the spot, her mother sat in the car, she went running inside, no placard, no plate. Yes, I took it upon myself. I said, excuse me, did you forget to put your placard in your windshield? Well, we don't have one. Well, you're aware that you're parking in a handicapped spot. Well, so we're only going to be here for a minute or two. 20 minutes later, she comes out. I sat there and waited. Seriously, those spots are for people. If you're wanting to generate money, hey, there's a great opportunity because you got a lot of people that just thumb their nose at the law. And he's right. When I do call 788-8311, it's the lowest thing on the priority list. Well, it's going to take us 20 minutes to get there. They'll be gone by then. Why not allow us to take the pictures to show you or video? Hey, this individual's doing it. Go to their home, issue them the ticket. We can't do it. You know what the number one excuse I receive? We have to witness it ourselves. Pictures and video tells you the whole story. Shows you right there the individual that did it, the vehicle, the whole 9 yards. May not give the ticket to the individual, but you can give the ticket to the vehicle. Has somebody parked it there? That's just my thought and my views. I don't know how you feel about it, but it's getting ridiculous, especially those that like to park in the fire lane at many of the businesses. You know, how's the fire department supposed to roll up on a call when you got people parking outside certain businesses and blocking the fire lane?
I think they run them over.
That would be nice, Chuck.
The chief is shaking his head no.
You know, something's got to be done. It's getting rampant, and it's getting worse. And I'm asking for your help and assistance. I know I sent messages to some of you. Some of you responded, and Jim, thank you. Brad, thank you. I really appreciate it because this is a concern in the city. I'm not the only handicapped individual here, but I know many of them probably watching on close network TV. They're concerned about it as well. And I appreciate your time, and thank you so much.
Thank you for coming, Todd. If you'd talk to the chief, that'd be great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Maybe give the chief 2 seconds, though, because it sounded like Alderwoman Conley wanted the chief to come up, and she's the next one signed up to speak. So give him 1 second.
Just be comfortable. I won't hold him for too long.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yep.
Chief,
you did
thank
good.
you.
You did good.
I just want to tell you, I know we've heard there were, we've had some accidents involving police officers, some injuries. Just in the last year, it's been a difficult year for officers, maybe who were no longer with the department. And I've had people ask me what the department does for ongoing mental health and stress reduction techniques for your officers. We've got, I mean, I love that we're hiring. We're seeing a lot of new, younger officers coming on. But that also means we have people who either, are newer to the stresses of this job, which is an extraordinarily stressful job, and people who've been there for a while, who worked through a long time without a contract. And, so there are a lot of inherent stress and pressures in your profession. And I'm not asking, I know that you, especially at times of crisis, have been very responsive, and we have counselors in there, but I've also had, I just had someone ask, what about that day-to-day grind? And what is the department doing? Are you looking for grants? Are you looking for opportunities to bring in other options for stress release for our officers, so that just to support just a kind of an overall mental health well-being for our department?
Yeah, well, I appreciate that comment, and I would begin by saying I've been chief. I'm in my third year now, and before I took over as chief, one of my big priorities was the holistic wellness of the Springfield Police Department. That includes physical, mental, emotional, financial, spiritual, every component of wellness. We brought in Visions Consulting to come in and basically reevaluate our entire wellness program. That's a 5-year commitment by them to come in and address shortfalls that we've had within our wellness program. Really seeing some of these great ideas that we had at one time continue to stay up and moving, and they've done a great job. We've had ongoing training that we provided our in-service on mental health related matters for law enforcement, specifically what we see and deal with on a daily basis. As part of the Safety Act also, there is a requirement in there that our officers take part in basically a mental health checkup, for lack of a better term. I believe it's on an annual basis. So there are folks besides me and you all thinking about this as well, because this is a big issue in law enforcement. And one thing that we have as situations happen, specific incidents, we bring in the Critical Incident Stress Management Team. It's a team out of St. Louis comprised of first responders that know how to deal with these situations, and they debrief some of these critical incidents that we have and try and offer tools necessary to help our officers through that. The main thing is that we all, as leaders of the department, leaders of the city, check on our people, right? I mean, that's who are near and dear to us, and who we focus on is our people. So that's what I try and do. That's what I have our team of supervisors do, is make sure that our people are okay. Again, as leaders, we're responsible for the behavior of our officers, and I'm also responsible for their welfare. And the one thing that I tell them day in and day out is what worries me the most is you all getting home at the end of the shift. And, so to your point, we've had some pretty serious accidents here recently, and I watched a video of one of those, and it made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. And we got some officers that are extremely lucky right now, and I'll leave it at that. But I'm committed to the wellness to function as it pertains to the police department, for sure.
Well, and we've talked about this a number of times, and that is one of the things that I appreciate very much about your approach to leading this department. And I just wanted you to know, I wanted to give you a chance to also talk about that, because the role that your staff plays in our city is so critical to the well-being of our entire city. And so I just want you to know that I'm hearing concerns from people to make sure that the people who are watching out for us are also being watched out for, and encourage you, if any opportunities to find additional ways to support that, I'd certainly love to see it. And I know that that's something that you've prioritized, and it's something that I think is a strong addition to our department, and a great support to our community. So thank you. I wanted to make sure that the people who'd asked about it could hear you speak about the steps that you've taken, and truly your commitment to making sure that we continue on that path, because it's important.
And I would end by just saying, I don't have all the answers, so if there are folks out there that you're speaking to that have ideas or suggestions, I'd love to hear that. Anything that we can do to continue to make this better, I'm all for it.
Alderwoman, I would like to piggyback on this, that the city of Springfield offers counseling ESS. It's called for our staff members, and it is going to be, it was on first reading tonight. You're going to discuss it at the next committee of the whole. We are looking to switch that contract because it's a 1-800 number, which is sometimes difficult. I think the chief would agree with me for them to get a hold of. So we're switching that contract to Memorial to a local healthcare agency where they can talk to someone face-to-face if they want.
That's wonderful, Mayor. Thank you. See how timely I am? No, but, and I just want to thank you, Chief, because I do know, I mean, again, I think that the health of the policing depends on the health of the officers. And there's just, I've had a number of people reach out just to say, how much they appreciate what your officers do. But they also, just to share that concern and pass it along. And again, thank you for your commitment to this, because I know that it's like we've talked about this more than once. And I appreciate that very much. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. Alderman Carlson.
Hang on, Chief.
Uh-oh.
I tried.
Almost.
Mr.
Back to
Faulkner, it'll
the-
be one more minute.
Back to the handicap parking, and Todd, it's a serious enough issue for Todd to bring it forward, and I did talk to him today, but it seems to me, back in my previous life, working Secretary of State's office, it seemed like, and I don't know if you recall, I'm going to ask some people, but it almost like we had some sort of what I call ambush weekends, where Secretary of State employees would maybe partner up with various law enforcement officials and maybe go out on a Saturday or a Sunday, or a Saturday and Sunday, and just walk through the various, department stores or grocery stores or wherever we have handicap parking with police officers, and they're able to ticket. Do you recall anything like that, or am I wrong on that?
I don't recall that. I mean, honestly, that sounds like a great idea, whether we partner with SOS or we do that ourselves. I do like the idea of maybe some targeted enforcement that I won't.
Yeah. I'll follow up then with Secretary of State, but then follow back up with you. But I do recall back in the day, there was some of that going on.
I wouldn't surprise me.
And so maybe we can look into that now with, a few more officers and back in the traffic division, so.
Sure.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Gregory, do you also need the chief?
No, just real quick, Chief, since we're here, but I know you mentioned the Safety Act and a component of that being mental health and things, and I know we had some funding sent down in the form of some grants and some different things that we did, and I know I asked you recently that have you heard anything from them, and I'll ask you the same tonight. Have you heard anything from them, because that's important.
Yeah, there was actually an email that went out this afternoon. I believe you were on that. You probably haven't had time to take a look at that yet. It was late, but we did hear back from the new grants manager at the state on the grant that you're speaking of.
Okay.
We have to make a few minor. They asked that we make a few minor tweaks on the application that we sent for those 3 amendments, and so we're working on that tomorrow. And you'll see the email, and we'll follow up on that.
Okay, I thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Anything else, Alderman Gregory?
No, ma'am.
Alderman Redpath, do you also need the chief?
Well, Chief, what is our authority on private property? As far as issuing tickets for handicap parking and for fire lanes, because the fire lanes is just as bad. People pull right up to the side of the stores and just sit there and, so what is our authority?
We have the authority to issue those 2 tickets on private property.
Okay. And I was only kidding, Chief, about you running them over. That's all right. We can't afford it. Thank you.
Is that the end of new business? Okay, I'm going to try to take us out of order for a second and ask for an executive session of the council real quick, please.
So move.
Motion second. All
Mayor.
those in favor, please.
Pursuant to 2C11 litigation.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you.
Thank you. Get this out. Thank you. Get out.
was in a suit.
Just so you know.
It's gonna be a while. This is hour 12 on the city.
Can I get a motion to reconvene the city council meeting?
Second.
Motion and a second to reconvene. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
All right, I don't think that anybody's opposed to reconvening, so we are now going to go, we'll let the clerk get back up here for a minute.
Can I have that repeated? The clerk
Yes.
wasn't in the room, please.
Sorry. So we had a motion to reconvene, and which was made by Alderwoman Purchase. It was seconded by Alderwoman Conley, and then I asked for all in favor to say aye, and they all said aye, and no one said nay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. We are now going to go for citizens who have advanced requests to address the council. The first citizen signed up to speak is Stacy Beasley. Is Stacy here? All citizens signed up to speak will be limited to 5 minutes tonight. The clerk will present a timer for you. And if you could please state your name and address for the record, that would be great. If you have any handouts, please just wave when you're at the podium, and someone will come and get those for you and bring them up to the council. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Stacy Beasley. My address is 6201 Mackenzie Place, Springfield, and the zip code is 62711. So what I wanted to address is starting in May of '23, we had contacted the city about our neighbors' dead trees that were falling onto our property after we had made unsuccessful attempts with the homeowner to resolve the tree situation. The previous city arborist came out and marked many trees for removal. He submitted the request to housing back in May of 2023. Nothing was done at that time. He told us that the homeowner was going to be cited through housing, and then we found out that nothing was ever actually done with that. So we followed back up after the storm, so I think it was in August, and we had our alderman, the city director, and the previous city arborist to our house, and they looked at the trees again. We're able to kind of see the severity of all of the trees that are a hazard. There's about 30 trees that have been marked by both city arborists for removal. And the concern is at this point, this has been going on for over a year of us trying to deal with the city, and they've been marked for removal, but the homeowner is never cited through housing. I have made numerous attempts to contact the city. My husband has made numerous attempts, and no one will ever return a phone call except for the new city arborist. He's the only one that has been responsive to us. So we have 4 small children that play in the yard. At this point, we don't let them go in the yard because the trees are falling. I'm sure today in my backyard there are many trees, limbs that are down at this point. And so my frustration is twofold. One, it's that there's a very clear city ordinance from what I've been able to understand about dead and dying trees. They've been marked by both city arborists for removal, and nothing is coming of that. And then my second concern is that we just have not had any communication back from the city. And I would expect as a citizen that at the very least I could get a phone call or an email back from someone at the city. That is it. Thank you.
Ms. Beasley, Director Fuchs is in the corner. If you kind of look to your right in the corner, do you mind speaking with him?
Sure.
Because he is over that agency.
Yes, thank you.
Hold on.
Alderman Hanauer, sorry.
The last I've heard, and I have returned your emails
Yes,
and
you
phone
have.
calls, is the last email we got was from the attorney of the person that owns the property, and we were told that there was, I'm not sure, I don't have the letter, there were trees that were taken down. I assume they were the ones that were marked along your property line.
That is not correct.
You were told
He
that
took
there
other
was-
trees down, but he did not take those trees down. So Brad Hamill came out at the beginning of February and has marked close to 30.
Well,
So a couple
I
of the
understand.
ones prior to when you came out were taken down, but since you've been out, none of them have been taken down.
Yeah, because my understanding is that when we originally looked at the ones on your property that could fall on your property, there was, I want to say 10 is what the number. Now, I don't know where the 30 came from, and if they're inside and they can't fall down on your property, what this is this is a lot that's a fully, I don't know what you would call it. It's a wooded lot. It's fully wooded, no house, nothing. And so some of these trees, if they're dead and they fall, they're falling in what I would consider a forest. I don't know, Corporation Council, I don't know, how our ordinances handle, in a forestry type environment like that, but, I mean.
So I'm happy to speak to what I know about this, and I'm happy to talk with Director Fuchs as well. Our enforcement actions are for dead and dying trees that endanger persons or property adjacent to the trees. My notes indicate that there were 7 trees that fell into that category that were marked to be removed, and that have since been removed. I also note that there were 17 ash trees in the interior of the lot that were marked because of concerns about the ash borer and contamination from that. That's a note that I have from Mr. Hamill. That's why those were tagged. If they're on the interior and not a threat to the safety of individuals or other property, then that's something we will try to work with the homeowner on with regard to removal. So I am happy to take this and talk with Director Fuchs as well. But those are the notes that I have on this, and that's how we enforce the ordinance.
And I'm happy to come back out and we can get the new arborist and everybody, and we can make sure we understand. I was under the assumption, based on the letter I got from the gentleman's attorney, that the 7 trees were I thought there was more, but was along your property line.
No, and he
what
took
trees
out,
did he
he
take
made a
down?
trail through his property, but he didn't take out the ones that when you were out were a
Right.
concern. And I'm not a tree person.
Right.
Brad came out and he marked the ones that he said were in a splash zone and a danger to our property and our children. And that's where that number came from. I don't know about with the emerald ash borer. I only care about the ones that are gonna fall and hurt my kids. Property can be replaced, but I'm really worried about my children in the yard.
Why don't, talk to Director Fuchs, and let's get a time, and I'll come out again, we'll do this again. And then, but the problem that we have is the gentleman that owns the lot, lives next door, he's got an attorney. So we're gonna have to deal with that. That's one of the big issues there. So we can mark them all we want, but without that attorney there to tell us they're gonna do it, we're gonna have to.
And I'm happy to deal with that, but I want Brad to go out and see the ones that are being discussed here tonight.
And Brad has recently been out. I talked to Brad today. So, I mean, we are happy to have everybody out and hash it out.
Do it
I
again.
just need the ordinance to be enforced, or to understand why is it not being enforced.
All right, so if you also don't mind talking to the director,
Yes,
too.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much. The next citizen signed up in advance to speak to the council, address the council, is Alice Ramey. Alice, is she in the hall, James? Or is she
She's gone. Move on.
The elevator. Getting on the elevator.
left?
We just saw her get on the elevator.
Mr. Johnson says she is no longer here. So the next item in advance to signed up to speak to the council is James Johnson. Mr. Johnson.
Good evening, James Johnson, B300 resident. I'm going to piggyback on my last conversation here and the last meeting. I find something funny, but I'm not laughing, Mayor. Like, I came up here about an issue in our community, and our local media and TV, chose to pick up the negative of the rolling street parties. And I just wonder, what do I have to do to get the word out and the attention? Because between last week and this week, there's been issues where if it was just mentioned over the radio or stuff to where, let me stay focused on the rolling street parties. How do we reach that group? Anybody have an answer? Like, there's no radio station that they're listening to. And to Alderwoman Lakeisha and Ethan, a lot of people aren't looking at the website, city website. And so we got to come up with a different way, because I'm here quite a bit. And I probably can count on one hand how many times I've been on the city website. So I know the word's not getting out. So we got to come up with something to where we can get the word out about stop parking in fire lanes and in handicap, about the events that are happening at Sacred Heart Griffin on the weekends where SIU have to come here and put the word out, about the bike riders, national black bike riders that are coming to town. Like, every little thing that happens in this city, there's segments of our community we won't even know about unless it's on social media or flyers or something. And I'm just wondering, what do I have to do to get the ball rolling, Mayor, to get the attention that if we want to reach these individuals and people in our community, we got to go a different route. And I don't know what else to do but say, hey, this is what we need. Now, these rolling street parties are probably going to get worse before they get better. And I'm glad you brought up the police department, because it's some things are starting to get real alarming for police. And I salute a lot of our police officers, and I'm thankful to, and I could be worried about, we should be worried about their well-being. And what I'm afraid is of the lack of respect for them. And I heard the chief say he want to issue tickets. So here's the question. Send tickets through the mail. What if they don't pay them? Then what? What are we going to do? Then your treasurer's office backlog with paperwork, because a lot of them aren't going to pay the tickets. I've been saying for 15 years or longer, we got to find something for these young people to do. And I don't know what else to say then, because remember that disruption I told you about a year ago? Disruption is coming, and I'm trying to help prevent it. Some of these people out here aren't even listening. You name me one person they're going to listen to, because they're not listening to aldermen. Some of them not listening to their parents. They're not listening to adults in the street, and they definitely not listening to the police. And I'm praying that they listen to me or some of my homies who are out here really trying to get in their ear to say, hey, we got to tone some stuff down. And the only way I can reach a multitude, I can't do it here because they're not listening to this city council. The groups that we need to get to are not listening. So I'm going to be respectful of my time, but I hope our media back there will take this and run. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Alderwoman Purchase wants to speak to you.
Well, I know last week we had spoke on it, and Chief Scarlett, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think you said we were going to start issuing $100 fines.
So there are varying degrees of tickets that we can issue as a result of the pop-up parties, illegal parking, open alcohol, loud music, all that stuff. Yes, there are fines. Multiple fines that go unpaid will lead to booting vehicles down the future. And I know the Corporation Council and the Treasurer's Office will also probably assist when it comes to collecting fines in the long run.
I think, James, that will get the parents who may not be paying attention to their children, because somebody's driving a vehicle that belongs to somebody.
True.
So if we increase that fine, because $100, I mean, bottles are $100. So we got to increase that a lot more. And when they don't pay it, I'm not for sure of the rules, but putting a boot on somebody's car is going to get somebody's attention. We have spoken to some of the people who initiate these pop-up parties, and I am not no powers of B, but we were told by people who orchestrated this party when we saw it happen in Madison Park Place that we will not see that happen this summer. There was other people who have elders over there who just said this is a no-fly zone. But I don't think that it should just be targeted to one area. It should be for everywhere. So I agree with you that they need something to do, but it's really getting out of control when you have people pulling boxes of Patron bottles out of their trunks, selling it on the street. Now we're losing money in our businesses and our establishments because now it's a free-for-all and we can't keep them confined to being inside of an establishment. I don't want to speak too much on it, but I understand where you're coming from. It's very, very frustrating for me. I'm appreciative of knowing some of these kids' parents, knowing some of their family members. When we were downtown last summer, it was a lot of people on the sidewalk. I knew some of them. I said, hey, don't embarrass me. Let's get everybody off the sidewalk. Let's help the police. Y'all got to move somewhere else. You got to move along. We have day parties coming up. I'm very nervous about that because a day party is from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We can't tell establishments you can't sell liquor from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., but we have to have some type of accountability and responsibility, too, when we're out consuming alcohol. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Chief?
I just want to add one point regarding the fines. The council sets the fines. The council set the fine for $100 for this. If the council wants to raise the fine to $500 or higher, I'm in full support of that.
I will bring something forward because we need to increase it.
Thank you,
Mayor,
Chief.
can
Thank you, Mr.
I say
Johnson.
something to the chief
Yes,
also
sir.
while at the
If
mic?
you'll keep it short for me.
Yes, ma'am.
Please and thank you.
I want to say, because I know of some of your officers who took the higher road, who one have been shot at or even had a gun pulled, and they didn't retaliate or fire. I want to say that I appreciate all of those officers who use much restraint and control, because the airing out of what happened in Decatur and Chicago, of the unloading clips on individuals, that makes me nervous. And I don't want to see that here in Springfield because I know it's going to have a different reaction. But to your officers, thank you. Please continue to withhold that strength, and you'll always have our support.
Mr. Johnson, Alderman Gregory would like to say something to you as well.
No, I just want to say that, you know, our community and our police department has come too far for us to, you know, really put them at each other. So, you know, first of all, I just want to say that, you know, our kids are getting on for a rap. When I think of kids, I think of people 18 and under. These are full-grown adults. We've had conversation, and we don't want to mix the two, right? People say that all the time. Well, we gotta have fun. Maybe they kids to us because we older, but these are grown adults, and you know, I agree in some instances on the fines and things of that nature. We've talked about many options to try to get this slowed down, but the only way we're really going to get this slowed down and stopped is by a community policing and a community approach. You know, when we had this conversation last week, people do be listening and stuff, and you know, for this community and the community where it was, you know, hosted at, we can't, you know, put out the message that we're going to sick the police on them you know, we're trying to control this thing. We are trying to have some good conversations with some of those who have them. I've talked to bar owners and different civic groups from our community who are looking at some holistic ways and some ways to try to speak to these young adults on better ways to party, and understanding that the areas that we're doing it and the way we're doing it is drawing way too many people. All of us are, you know, been there where we've had parties and we've had things at people's homes and stuff. The problem is it goes too far. The tickets and things that we're encouraging, it's a tough thing. You know, they can't just roll up, because honestly, I could stand out on the sidewalk all night long, as long as I'm not bothering anybody, as long as I'm not breaking the law. we're putting them in a situation to go into a crowd of 400 to give out tickets for, open alcohol. We can do those things, but then we risk the chance of these problems happening. We don't want those problems. So we've been trying to shut it down, shut it off. We have addressed this area and stuff. I don't think we'll have another problem, just like we ain't had another problem in Cox Park. It'll probably move somewhere else, and we'll continue to try to work on it. We're trying to really work with some leaders. There's some people that they listen to and really hammer down, because we don't want to go and go police crazy and all of this stuff. We don't want to be ticketing all of our citizens and doing all this craziness and making people's lives harder. We just want people to party responsibly, do the right things, and we got to deal with it, from a community and police standpoint. We got to remember, we got many, many members of our police department that live in the community, and we're working on it. We're trying to get it slowed down, and so far so good, and we'll keep working. But I just don't want this because it comes off people watching this. They like, oh my goodness, now we're gonna have a million police on us at every turn, and it's not like that. In fact, in many of these situations, our officers are there to now protect some of the crowd from bad things happening. That's why we don't want them. Not because we just don't want to have people having fun, but because typically something happens and we don't want it, and
That's why we need a location. We need something for them.
We've thought about those things, but and let's talk about it. We've thought about locations. We've thought about different places. There's liability issues. Nobody's gonna let somebody just come on their property, have parties, and do things, because then something happened, then somebody trying to sue them. We've talked about it. We talked about Chamberlain Park. It's a neighborhood there. Roy will go crazy. We've talked about different options. The bottom line is, it's not acceptable in the middle of the neighborhood, and I'll say that all day long. But if you want a party, we have plenty of clubs around here to go to and do it the right way. If not, guess what? We can't do it in the middle of the neighborhood, and that's just period. And we'll try to do all we can do to slow it down and go from there. And the different things that go on, and whether chief ticket somebody, or we boot people car who are parked illegally, and people who are doing illegal things, then that's on them, because we're advising you not to have these parties. But everything else, go to the club, have fun, be peaceful, go home. But we can't have it in the middle of the neighborhood. In fact, we're not going to have it in our neighborhood. So thank you.
Chief Scarlett.
Yeah, I just want to add one point to that, and I agree with you 100%. It's not about us versus them. It's all of us, right? I mean, we collectively want what's best for our city, and I think the education piece is important, and community leaders speaking out is important, and if my officers don't have to write any citations, that's a great day, and that's ultimately what we're after, is just compliance. That's all. Do the right thing.
Alderman Redpath has something to add now?
Let me just tell you something, James. I've been a law enforcement officer for over 35 years. I've seen every aspect of law enforcement you can imagine. I've seen the brutality of the 60s and 70s and everything else go around. The reason that our officers use discretion in situations where guns are involved or their life's involved is because of the way we train our people. This is one of the most well-trained police departments in not just the state of Illinois, but maybe the country. And it's because of the leadership that we have with this young man and the people that he surrounded himself with. That's why it's like that. No officer wants to go out and get into a situation where they have to draw their gun and shoot somebody. Just believe it or not, that's not the way it is. I can tell you that the honor and the duty that these people put out every day is because they love the job they do, and they're doing it for the community they love. And that's really the basis. And we're talking about these pop-up parties. This ain't a new concept. In 1972 to 74, when I was in the high school, we had pop-up parties all the time. But guess what? We had them out in cornfields or out somewhere out away from places. We didn't do it in the middle of the damn street. I mean, that's the problem. The problem is they're disrupting neighborhoods. They're disrupting our businesses. And we can't stand for that. $100 ain't gonna do it, guys. I'll tell you straight. We gotta make it stiff enough fine and take some cars and show people this is not gonna happen. And then, what he just said is exactly right. This ain't about us versus them. This is about how are we gonna deal with this so they can find something constructive to do that's not gonna cause the city or people discomfort. That's it.
I think Alderman Carlson has something he'd like to add as well.
Yeah, quickly. Chief Scarlett, I appreciate your words last week, and I'll say it. I think you're taking the no tolerance approach on it. I think you're trying to nip it in the bud right away, these pop-up parties and anything illegal, which leads to my next question. If we're fining people $100, at what point can we put these, I think I've heard we have 40 boots available. They've got
It's a different type of
Like
crime.
number
That's it,
4.
just 4. They got to have dust on them, right? Because we don't use them anymore now because we don't ticket anybody with meters. So to me, we've got to get these back out. But seriously, how many tickets do we issue before we boot somebody and it's circumstance like this?
Upon their second ticket, they're eligible to be booted under the ordinance that was passed by this council last fall.
Okay.
I believe they have then 14 days to maybe pay that second ticket, and then on the 15th day, they could be booted, if I read that correctly.
So they get the first ticket, then 15 days.
They get the first ticket, and then they can get the second ticket the next day, but it needs to be $200 in accrued fines. And if there are $200 in accrued fines, they can be booted after allowing for that 15-day
And then we can use one of the 4 boots. Okay. I thought we had more than that, but all right. Thank you.
Alderman Hanauer has something to add?
Yeah, just real quick. So it's been talked about up here on these pop-up parties that we know the people that are putting them up.
Yeah.
What can we do to where we just tell them, if you do it, you're going down. You're going downtown. Can we do that? I mean, I don't know what if we know the people that are doing it, that's the people we need to sit down with and say, listen, we're not going to tolerate this. And if they do it, this is what's going to happen. I don't know.
I rather people in the community who they'll listen to do it before we start with somebody around this horseshoe or the police. I think they're more apt to listen to us in the community, and then Sean, if he know people who are doing it, I'm willing to sit down and talk with everybody before we take that step of saying.
Corporation Counsel has something to add.
Well, Chief and I have a meeting tomorrow on this topic, and we are looking at a comprehensive approach to the pop-up party issue from our level, at a county level, and at a community level. And that is one of the aspects, is focusing on the organizers. So we understand it's a large problem. We understand that the solution is going to be multifaceted, and we're working towards that, and I anticipate presenting something to council along the lines of what you're talking about.
All right, thank you.
Alderman Rockford has something to add.
James, I respect you coming up here, and standing up for these the youth, so to speak. But some of these folks are grown men doing this stuff, and also we all know, and I'm going to throw a comment out. It starts in the home. It starts with parenting. What did we do when we were kids? It isn't like we had 100,000 things to do. We made our own parties, but we respected our neighbors, and we respected one another. It's not there. People say, oh, times have changed. Times haven't changed. People have changed. Until we start holding people accountable for what they're doing, they're going to continue to do it. So it goes way beyond city council, and it starts at your federal level on down to your state. When you have a no cash bail, they don't care if they go to jail. They're going to get out, and they're going to come out and do the same thing. So things got to change on higher levels. But again, I appreciate you coming out. I appreciate you, Chief. So it starts in the home. Thank you.
Alderman Williams has something to add.
Yeah, I just want to say we keep saying we know the individual that organizes this as if it's just one individual. He may do most of them, but he don't do all of them. There's an internet there, and pop-ups can start off just from somebody having a barbecue or a birthday party or a wedding reception. So it's not always just that individual, even though he has his codes and his way of talking to his people to gather. You heard me say last week, Chief, that it was my wish that the police wouldn't get involved if it's already a pop-up party. And it's because of your concerns, James. I've been to one with 400 cars. I saw the explosiveness that could become if they did try to do something, being vastly outnumbered. I'm very uncomfortable as an alderman, as a citizen, that the police can show up and the masks don't care. So what? And they're still doing all these illegal acts, from the liquor in the streets to this to that, cars parked all kinds of directions, I think strategically, so that anything, fire truck, tow truck, nobody can get there. I do like that the one I witnessed, you guys surrounded them. At least that stopped the growth. Because I saw the other kids coming from Decatur and Jag, wherever they was coming, they started circling, trying to find a way in to park their cars and make this thing, because they think it's nice when they see it grow blocks and blocks like that. The citizens suffer from this. Our police take a risk, and in my opinion, the only thing that they're going to respond to is something immediate, not tickets to me, but something immediate. Because once it starts, you kind of have to let it play out for it to be peaceful anyway. But I do believe after they see a couple of boots, like someone mentioned, or a couple of toes, that at least will break it up. They'll start getting in their cars going, getting out of there, because now the tow trucks have arrived and the boots have arrived. So I wanted to clarify my statement why I'm saying I didn't want to see the police get involved, because I saw a situation where it didn't matter, except that our police now are going to get hurt trying to take on these mass vehicles and crowds, and they're not children. They're barely young people. I'm talking grown men, grown women. When you get to be 28, 29, 30, you're no longer even really young adult no more. So they know what they're doing. So I just wanted to, say a few words about it, since everybody was saying that. And I am hoping we do some immediate action when it gets to that. I do like your goal of don't let it get there. If you can catch it when it's only 6 or 7 cars, then yes, I can see the police. But when you show up and they already passed 200 cars, you kind of have to be smart.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And you had mentioned that exact sentiment last week, and I agree with you 100%. I'm not going to send my officers in. There's a risk of safety to them. And I mentioned earlier about what worries me is them getting home at the end of the night. Well, if we can prevent, major clashes, especially when it's, potentially 400 to a handful of officers, then we're going to do that. We're going to take other actions, which may include tickets, may include towing, may include surrounding, and waiting for people to leave, all sorts of opportunities that we have, yes.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. The next person signed up in advance to speak is Veronica Espina. You would like to, okay, the next will you be coming back, Veronica, or no? Okay, so we're going to go out of order. Then the next person signed up to speak is Sister Marceline Cope. Yep. Sorry, I just wanted to know if you wanted to come up or not, so. Do you have handouts? Okay. Can someone please go?
Yep.
We'll get someone up there, Sister. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm Sister Marceline Cook. I'm a Springfield resident. I'm the zip code 62702. I'm a member of SIAN, which is the Springfield Immigrant Advocacy Network. A few weeks ago, you heard that immigration is a subject on many people's minds, and yes, it is. But it's because many people, many of us, have great concern for other persons who are in dire circumstances in our world. War and gangs make life unsafe for them, especially for children.
Thank you, ma'am.
Years of drought prevent farmers from providing for their families. There are insufficient jobs to buy food, shelter, and medicine and have any kind of security. Immigrants, refugees, and asylum seekers are looking for the same things that all of us want for our families. So I'm going to share very briefly around 3 things that might be helpful related to what you heard a couple of weeks ago. First, we know that words matter. Terms that we use to refer to different groups of people are not merely neutral or impartial descriptions. Instead, they often carry implicit ethical judgments, and usually those are negative. For instance, alien is legal language. When immigrants come, they are given an A number. There is no reason to use this term in everyday living because it's a legal term. And secondly, in this, actions may be illegal, but persons are not illegal. All persons that exist on earth have a right to existence. They are here. They are not illegal on this earth. And so referring to an immigrant as illegal objectifies a person. And actually, illegal is not always accurate. For instance, living in the U.S. without authorization, such as overstaying a visa, which is probably the majority of undocumented folks, but entering the country legally is a civil, not a criminal offense. So just to say, to use the words undocumented immigrant or unauthorized worker, but not use illegal. The second area that you heard about had to do with crime, excuse me, and immigrants. I think the language piece is connected to folks seeing immigrants as responsible for much crime. There are various studies, and they're on your handout. There are 2 of them from universities showing that foreign-born individuals do not commit crime at a disproportionately higher rate than native-born folks. It says that beginning back in 1960, immigrants today are 60% less likely to be incarcerated than U.S.-born. Now, I realize that statistics are of little comfort for families that have experienced a violent crime, but I think we should examine why some folks would promote such a connection with immigrants and why we should be inclined to believe that there is a connection. And then the third area that was talked about was about the Central County's Health Center at 2239 East Cook. For over 20 years, that center has been providing quality, affordable, non-discriminatory, and accessible health care, medical and dental, to people that are underserved. Central County's is a federally qualified health center. These FQHC centers qualifies them for enhanced reimbursement from the Health Resources and Services Administration, and that's beyond the ordinary Medicare and Medicaid benefits. So as a non-for-profit and tax-exempt organization, an FQHC can receive grants from the government, the private sector, or even donations that would be in addition to their Medicare and Medicaid funding. And they are really doing a good service to our community. And Central County's is not the only one in Springfield. So I thank you for your attention and consideration of this information.
Thank you, Sister. Sister, if you don't mind, we have a couple of alderpersons who have signed up to speak while you're up there. Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you, Mayor. Sister, thank you for coming in. I appreciate you bring a light of, as we mentioned earlier, respect and compassion to fellow human beings who are in our community. It's really important, and I very much appreciate your focus on the language, because how you speak of people to create an other when is very, it's very distancing. It creates, that aura of, again, like the alienness. And we really need to be careful how we speak and how other people use their terms, and also just, that's kind of been the theme of the night, respect. We see, if we as a community start respecting each other a little more, respect our neighborhoods, crying out loud, respect our traffic laws, if we start treating each other with the kind of compassion and respect that you brought in tonight, I think our community just becomes much better. I unfortunately was at a conference and had to get off the phone to go to a meeting, and, well, I guess it's unfortunate. I didn't get to hear the comments that you were speaking of. I listened to them afterwards. And it was alarming to me to hear someone, in my opinion, kind of advocating for building more barriers between neighbors. I think, and so I thank you for coming in tonight. I know not everyone wants to come in and speak before City Council, but I appreciate that you took this time, and I hope that people are hearing you and listening. And we really, as just kind of a rule of thumb, need to be a little more thoughtful and careful in how we use our words, because they have a great impact. And I also want to thank you for the work that you do with Scion. I know that that's an organization that helps people who are part of our community who maybe don't always get a light shown on them for the good that they do, but thank you. So thank you for coming in. I appreciate that.
We have one more. Alderwoman Notriano.
Thank you, Chair, or Mayor. I also want to echo what Alderwoman Conley said, and thank you so much for coming and doing this research for us and providing an alternate view on things. And thank you so much to everyone in Scion who takes care of our neighbors. These people live in work right here amongst us, and it's very important that we take care of each other. And I really do appreciate the work that you do on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sister.
Thank you.
The next person signed up in advance to speak then is Veronica Espina.
Thank you, Mayor. Hello, everybody. I think I'm going to be a little bit over 5 minutes. I'm very sorry. I'm founder and board president of the Springfield Immigrant Advocacy Network, and I would like to clarify a couple of points presented last week that were misinforming. One is the role of the welcoming centers in Illinois. The welcoming centers were created in 2007, so we have had almost 2 decades of them. They are completely funded by the Department of Human Services. They were designed to model a state-operated, one-stop human service center that helps immigrants navigate state services, coordinate state services with non-for-profit that do community social services, such as Catholic charities. The Welcoming Center in Illinois has expanded. We have over 30 of them. Springfield was lucky to inaugurate a Welcoming Center in July 2022, and services have connected immigrants and refugees from Ukraine, as well as people seeking asylum from Congo and Venezuela, and many others, to community resources. Our Springfield Welcoming Center is also funded by DHS through the Western Illinois Dreamers Administration, and no city or county monies fund this center. The Springfield Welcoming Center, which is located at Central County's Alderman Williams Ward, serves communities whose families via refugee status, asylum, permanent residency, immigrant Medicaid eligibility are covered by state insurance, or if they don't have insurance, they pay out of pocket. The center connects people with immigrant advocates, such as school districts, ESL courses, mass transit system, and many other resources a new family will need to connect to if they come to the city. The second issue I'm going to touch upon is related to Sister Marceline's statement today, which is about the nature of the language we use, particularly when we refer to institutional messages, because what we say about immigrants and how we say things about immigrants matter. When it comes to immigrants and refugees, we share spaces with many of our neighbors that identify as immigrants. Our kids go to school together. We interact with immigrants in every industry in the city. Immigrants are our teachers, doctors, IT consultants, engineers, nurses, university and college professors. We go to school together. Immigrants also prepare our food in the restaurant industry. They work jobs in the service industry as well, in sectors such as cleaning, construction, landscaping, and other services. It is fair to say today that every alderwoman and man in this council represent immigrant families living in their wards today. Furthermore, in our city and during the pandemic, immigrants have been essential workers in grocery stores, pharmacies, and hospitals. Immigrants, as you know, also work for the state and city governments and have worked in the past under the mayor's office. We even go to church together. So why is this important to recognize? Because once you get to know immigrants, it becomes harder to dehumanize them. It is actually much easier for some people to vilify entire communities when they isolate them, when we segregate them, and when we exclude them. Once we realize how often we interact with one another and how strong is our deep desire to belong, we're able to see our shared humanity and spirit. And why is this relevant? Well, because we live in a welcoming state. Our top leader, Governor Pritzker, signed new legislation in August of 2021 that expanded protections for immigrant and refugee communities. He further established Illinois as perhaps the most welcoming state in the nation. You have on the back of your attachment a couple of bills that compose the Illinois way forward. I'm only going to talk about two pieces of legislation briefly. Senate Bill 1596 expanded protections of immigrant communities by amending the Criminal Code of 2012 to include hate crimes based on citizenship and immigration status. The bill enhances penalties for crimes by classifying them as hate crimes if they were motivated, even in part, by the victim's actual or perceived immigration or citizenship status. Senate Bill 2665 establishes an Illinois Immigration Impact Task Force to study how state policies and programs affect immigrant residents. This is really important considering that in Illinois, and primarily in Chicago, we have received over 30,000 Ukrainian refugees and about 25,000 Venezuelan asylum and refugee applicants. Lastly, I would like to welcome all of you to learn and train with us. As we are a recipient of a Healing Illinois grant, Zion is going to present 2 anti-racism trainings focused on anti-Black and anti-immigrant bias and policies. These trainings will be delivered, one in May and one in June, and we will extend invitations if you would like to attend.
Thank you.
And that is all.
Ms. Espina, can you make sure that we are supplied the dates and the times and the locations of those trainings, please? Okay, I would appreciate that. You can either send them through the clerk's office, like where you signed up, and I can ask the clerk's office to make sure that we all get those. Or I can ask my chief of staff or my communications director is holding her card up, if you want to give it. So, she just dropped it. If you look to your right, there's a lady in a yellow shirt.
We are in the works with them, so the locations are not yet.
Okay, but maybe the dates so we could put them on our
yes.
calendars. I know my calendar's booked for
Yes.
like 4 weeks, so, yeah. That'd be great, and she'll share those with us. Thank you so much. We have a couple of alderpersons who have signed up to speak to you. Alderman Williams.
Well, my answer, I've got my answer.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you, and I'm going to be really brief because you also brought up a good point. The street that I live on has 4 households that are non-Native American residents from different continents. I'm sure, as you know,
Yes.
I'm married. My spouse is
Yes.
not, is an immigrant to this country, and just recently became full United States citizen. And I just thank you for pointing out our non-Native members of this community are all over the place.
Yes.
And provide all sorts of services, and we interact in many ways, and shouldn't be a silent face, but should be thanked and appreciated, and makes us a richer community to have this variety of backgrounds and strengths.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you.
The next person signed up in advance to address the council is Douglas Yule Holt.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilman, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Douglas Holt. My address, 1061 North 6. For as long as I can remember, my mother has taken me to the library when I was a kid, and now I'm taking her to the library. We were at the library last Saturday, and she had already been there. I had dropped her off, came back. She had already been there an hour longer than I had. I came upstairs to where she was on the 3rd floor to sit across from her while I was reading. A little while later, they made the announcement that there was 5 minutes to go before time for the library to close. right at that moment, one of the security guards yells across the room, "Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go." And I'm looking at him, I said, look up at him, and I said, "Don't be yelling at my mother." And then I told him, I said, "We got 5 minutes." And apparently he didn't realize that he was yelling, or I don't know how he couldn't, because he's like 100 feet away across the room. I don't think would he think he whispered to us? So then when we weren't moving, because we got 5 minutes, you got last minute things to do. He comes around and gets up closer to me and tells me, "You gotta go, you gotta go. I mean, you gotta go right now." And I'm saying, "Dude, we got 5 minutes. Only thing I ever said to this guy was 2 statements. "We got 5 minutes, and don't be yelling at my mother." He gets closer to me and tells me, he says, I'm trying to think now. Well, by this time, my blood pressure's up, my mother's blood pressure's up, and she's got a headache, which is why she's not here tonight, okay? I mean, he made statements, and I was going to go in the order of the statement that he made, but everything from, "You think you run this place. I'm the boss. When I say it's time to go, it's time to go." Like, seriously, 5 minutes. We got 5 minutes. And all this is going on during our 5 minutes. Same time I got in here to speak with you, 5 minutes is what we're supposed to be waiting on. From there, he tried to offer me his card to speak with his boss. Like, I don't want to talk to your boss. I want my 5 minutes. And like I said, while he's sitting here doing all this, he's wasting our time. From there, he went to, I called 911 because I'm stressed. It's our Sabbath. Saturday is our Sabbath. I was raised Jewish. So we come to have some peace, quiet, don't want to be bothered time. And we got to deal with a security guard in our face telling us to get out when there's still time. Just like there's still time ticking on the clock right now, we still got time to do things and get things done. He's still not done yet. Like I said, he tried to offer me a card to speak with his boss. Don't want to talk to your boss. Want my 5 minutes. From there, he goes, I'm on the phone with 911. 911 says, what's your emergency? And I'm telling them what's going on. And he's in the background. You can hear him yelling in the background on 911. 911 hears all this, says, "I can't understand you. There's too much noise in the background." 911 hang up. After they knew what was going on, they knew where it was and everything they needed to know. Apparently, I don't know if they called at the library and they radioed him or stand down or whatever, but he backs off a little bit. And from there, he says, I'm sorry. He says, ooh, man. I'm sorry, I've written all this down, but in the statements for what he said, I want to make sure I get it right. Oh, he said, "You're done." And somebody needs to explain to me what "you're done" means. And I say that because last person talking about I'm done from one of the security guards over there, he turned around and wrote me up on some bogus charges and had me banned unjustly. And that was Isaiah Johnson. Okay, this isn't Isaiah Johnson. This is his guy, his partner who's always with him when they're doing whatever they do to people inhumanely. And the last thing that he said to me, I'm saying I'm running out of town. I'm not going to be able to get through all 3 of the pages that Gregory saw earlier today. But the last thing he said to me before he walked away was, "You think you're better than this library." Okay, I've been going to the library for 40 years, okay? My mom's been taking me, I'm taking her. He trying to get tough with me. Dude, I done ran the streets in New York, Miami, Chicago, and Tijuana. Please don't make me mad. Okay, I got a friend who spent 3 tours in Iraq. We compared stuff that we know. My friend told me I've seen more action than he has in 3 tours in Iraq. So I seriously don't want to be having any problems when I can't even sit in the library and read with my 80-something-year-old mother.
Mr. Holt, Mr. Williams. Mr. Holt, can you wait, please? Alderman Williams has something he'd like to say.
Thank you, Mayor. So, Mr. Holt, this situation with the security guards has been going on for quite some time.
It's been going on for over a year.
Yeah, okay. So, but I'm going to ask you to remember, I asked you, would you like to meet? Sit down and have the meeting? Because the only way this is going to get resolved is if we have to sit down and understand. I understand in the past, they thought you was homeless, and they, was treating you like you was homeless, and you was trying to explain you wasn't. All that started and kicked this off, and it's never really stopped from one administration to a new administration. Now, a year in a new administration, and it's still going on. So I'm going to ask you, since we're public with this, are you willing to sit down and meet?
I'm not willing to sit down and meet with some alderman, with some security guard who has been stalking and harassing me for a whole year for no reason unjustly. Whether it be Isaiah Johnson or any of the others, okay? And what reason why is because that doesn't make any sense to do whatever reason. If I was doing something wrong that would tolerate for why they're doing what they're doing, I would be in prison by now. I done made enough complaints from my alderwomen to the mayor, to the police, to identify with the Department of Human Rights, the Department of Justice. All these complaints I've made to all these people, and nobody seems to have any kind of control over these security guards or what they are doing.
Well, so you plan on coming to their workplace daily like you've been doing for years?
I'm going to keep living my life. But at some point, they're going to be brought up on charges. I told, as I said before, if I was a woman making these kind of charges against these, not just these charges, but more, against these security guards, they'd be in prison by now. So not only do I feel and know that this is racist, it's sexist as well.
Well, so if it's security and you not getting along and you're not willing to you're not willing to meet, so what is the solution then?
What started this was when they got caught.
I didn't ask that. I didn't ask what started it.
I'm sorry?
I asked, what is your solution then?
What's the solution? Somebody's going to go to jail. It's not going to be me. So somebody's going to be brought up on charges, and it's definitely not going to be me.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. Holt. The next person signed up to speak in advance is Catherine Heffernan. Is Catherine here? Pardon me? She left. She left. Oh, I'm sorry. Clerk Lesko said she left. Can I get a motion for adjournment?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. We're adjourned. What'd you say, ma'am? Because you're still thawing out, probably. You're still cold.
Hi.
It's cold back there.
Your office? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
What's up? Yeah.
Yep, I'm making a note on different reader.
Yes, Kelly. Okay, good. Okay, good. So, yeah. Unless it's the one that's under 50. We have two. Okay, yeah. We've got that one run through the pipe, I think. Good. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.